Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Good morning and welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. Boy, do we have a treat in store for you today. It is the tradition of Unitarian Universalist congregations to call out from our pews our own members in order to share their wisdom. And today we do just that. There's a saying that if you have to go through hell, don't come out empty-handed. And so several of our members took on the challenge given to them of, okay, so if you have to go through 2020, don't come out empty-handed. What are the lessons that you learned this year that you're going to take with you into the future? If this is your first time joining us, I am so glad that you came today. And after the service, why don't you go over to liveoakuu.org. It's our website, and you're going to find a place where you can sign up for our weekly email newsletter, and that'll let you know about all the different things that we have going on during the week. And now, if you have a chalice or a candle near you, draw it near as we light our chalices together.
Today's big idea is Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Bjorst, illustrated by Ray Cruz. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereals box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend, and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend, and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off the cone part and lands in Australia. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's what it was, because after school my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot, and while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy, and then when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby, and while I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. I'm having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes, but then the shoe man said we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones, but they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limas. There was kissing on the TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that, even in Australia.
should ever go away, well then close your eyes and try and feel the way we do today. And then if you can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me for sure. 'Cause that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. 'Cause that's what friends are for. Well, you came and opened me, and now there's so much more I see. And so, by the way, I thank you. Oh, and then for the times when we're apart, well, then close your eyes and know the words are coming from my heart. And then, if you can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me for sure. 'Cause that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. 'Cause that's what friends are for. I'll be on your side. 'Cause that's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining. Oh, that's what friends are for.
You're traveling to another dimension.
No!
Not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Whew. Wow. So, 2020, some year, huh? You know what? It was pretty easy to slip off into Skull Cinema on occasion. A lot of worst case scenarios. 2020 could be described as a bit hellish. So, if you have to walk through hell, don't come out empty-handed. So here are some of the things that I learned. I learned about resilience. I learned to adapt my behavior and evolve. There were many things that I could not control, totally out of my control. There were some things I could control, such as if I left the house, who I was going to be around. When I went to the store. Early on, I was doing all curbside. I even had food delivered to my front door. After a bit during the pandemic, I realized that maybe that's not totally necessary. So I figured, okay, if I go to the store, I'm going to go early. So I would go to H-E-B, Walmart, wherever it was I was going, and I'd go right after they opened. And I would go in like a bank robber, pull the mask up, go in, don't waste any time, get your work done, and get out. So I found out that was well within my risk tolerance, and I was feeling pretty good about it. The other thing I learned is I was watching too much news. My need to stay informed was coming into conflict with my need to stay sane. So I mean, I had CNN on all the time. I'd watch MSNBC, PBS, Fox. Yeah, Fox. I didn't watch that too much, actually. But anyway, I found that, the news was causing me stress, and so I needed to do something different. So I began to read a newspaper. What the heck? I can read the facts, develop my own opinions. I don't need CNN to pound that story in. So anyway, I had to do things to relieve my stress. I had to focus more on what I could do for myself. So I had to find things that brought me joy. Like, it's been a while, but I like to read a book. So I started doing that. I get out and take a walk. I still love doing that. Take the mask, but go get your walk in. I even tried to get into meditating a little bit. Admittedly, I'm not great at it. I'm not as disciplined as I need to be, but sometimes it's nice just to sit quietly and not focus on too much. So through it all, I remain very optimistic. I think 2021 is going to be better. We've got a new president. There's a vaccine out there, and I believe within a few months there's going to be somewhat of a return to normalcy. So everybody hang in there and stay safe.
So something that I learned about in this year, 2020, was the importance of connecting with people. This isn't a new concept. In fact, this is something that Reverend Joanna preached before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, I think it was somewhat tough to connect with people. And I've never really been that good at connecting with people in the first place. I have moved around, and between kind of work and family, you kind of lose the time to actually connect with people. And during that time we were separated from each other, you had to make a real purposeful effort to connect. A good friend of mine that I knew in Indiana, we had lost touch a little bit. We kind of saw each other here and there. And I found out he was diagnosed with leukemia. And this was hard news to take, but I decided to reach out and talk to him for a little bit. And then we got connected, and we started playing some online games together. We played Terraforming Mars, which is if you've never played it, is a really fun game, and a multiplayer game that you can play online, him in Indiana and me in Texas. And we started doing this on kind of a weekly basis, and it's been a lot of fun for me and something that I've enjoyed quite a bit. The other thing I did was I wanted to stay connected with my family who lives in Texas, but they live in Houston and San Antonio and Dallas. And so it's hard to stay connected because we couldn't leave our house, really. Or if we left the house, it couldn't be for an extended period of time. And so I set up some Zoom meetings, some happy hours, and we did this on a weekly basis on Fridays. And I have to admit, it's been quite a pleasure to reconnect with my family and enjoy some times with them. So I think for me, it's really been about reconnecting with people, and ultimately I've really kind of treasured those moments that I've been able to do it. And I've had a lot of fun doing it.
Good morning, Live Oak. My name is Diane Sylvan, and here are 20 things that 2020 has taught me. Number 1, guard toilet paper like gold. If there's ever an actual apocalypse, I want to be one of the people helping run the black market toilet paper trade. Very lucrative, I think. Number 2, hair, vastly overrated. Number 3, the goddess really does have a sense of humor, but unfortunately it seems to be a little too much like mine. Number 4, sourdough is apparently America's remedy for existential panic. Number 5, you can set almost anything to the tune of Baby Shark. Number 6, if I don't shave my legs for 2 months from the knee down, I look like my dad. Number 7, I like tea. Who knew? Number 8, I actually have no idea how time works. As far as I'm concerned, 1980 was 20 years ago, and 2020 is also 20 years. Number 9, you don't have to be smart to be dangerous. Number 10, becoming hateful is just, it's so easy. It creeps up on you a little more every terrible headline you read and every injustice you see. And it starts to choke you and choke out all of the things like optimism and hope that you're holding on to. And the only way to get free of it is to cut it off with some really powerful hedge clippers. And mine are made of awareness and meditation and prayer. And it turns out, live oak. But once you've cut it away, you can't just leave that void there or something else will fill it. You have to intentionally fill it back up with love and determination and the drive for a more just and fair world. Number 11, turns out I do like the sound of my own voice. I always used to say I sounded like a duck. Turns out I was wrong. Number 12, I can put chocolate syrup in my cold brew if I want to because I'm a grown-up lady and I do what I want. Number 13, even introverts need people. Number 14, you are under no obligation to revolutionize your fitness regime, start a new healthy diet, or any other kind of self-improvement mess during a pandemic. The truth is, 80% of your energy is going to go to staying healthy and staying sane. And the other 20%, I don't know, take naps and watch The Mandalorian. Number 15, spicy sweet chili Doritos are vegan. Oh my God. Number 16, losing track of time means that you need to pay a lot closer attention to things like how often you clean the litter box and how often you change your work pajamas. So it's helpful even to set a calendar reminder for, you haven't brushed your teeth in a week and it feels like there are sweaters on all of your molars. Or, wash your hair, even if you don't have that much of it. Number 17, there are simultaneously multiple different Americas. It's basically Schrodinger's country. And the one that you get to live in depends on how far you can see past your own self-interest. And if we have any hope of all living in the same America, we have to all start looking in the same direction and with the same distance of view, so that we can all live in the same country together and that it can be a great one for everyone. Number 18, without my roommate's help, it takes me about 4 days to eat an entire cake. Number 19, sometimes you have to adjust your expectations in life. We all started 2020 with plans, I'm sure, things we wanted to do with this year. And after a couple of months, it just went. And a lot of that is terrible, and a lot of it was preventable. And the thing is, it's still what we're stuck with. It's what we have to start with for next year. And rather than lament how much we didn't get done, I think it's more important to look around at what we've learned and what we discovered was really important this year, and to take that forward with us into making 2021 meet higher expectations for everyone. And number 20, I could only actually think of 19, so adjust your expectations, I guess. But anyway, I hope that your holiday season exceeds your expectations and that you and all of yours are healthy and safe, and that we can all walk into 2021 a little more clear-eyed and rejuvenated and ready to get back to work.
Hey, Live Oak. Mike Schultz here. So I guess the most important thing that I've learned during this pandemic is to make better use of my time. Now, when I first started working from home, you know, I got a whole 40 minutes back. Time that I did not have to travel from home to work and from, back again. And I did not really make very good use of that time. I would spend 20 minutes in the morning watching YouTube videos and catching up on Facebook. And, that was, I guess that was okay. It's not a terrible use of time, but at some point, my doctor and I have been working on a high blood pressure problem that I have, and she said, Mike, you could do yourself a lot of good if you just lose 10 pounds. And I have to tell you, I really didn't want to put in the work for that. I just was in the 90s, I worked really, really hard, and I lost, I guess, about 30 pounds. And eventually I gained it all back. But, that was a lot of work. And I just really didn't want to do it. But then, I guess I just kind of woke up and said, you're wasting time in the morning. Time that you could be spending on yourself. And that includes exercising and, taking a morning walk. So, it was and if I had, if I really needed to be entertained, there was Audible. I could be listening to an Audible book. So, I did that. And so far, I've lost about 10 pounds. I'm not sure that's a lot, but that was what my doctor asked for. So, I still have a lot of time on my hands now that I didn't really have before. And, the going to meetings at Live Oak, that travel time is now something for me now because we can do Zoom. So I have time to do other things for me, like take up guitar. Yeah, I've wasted a lot of it playing Tomb Raider. What can I say? But it's time that I now have and I can spend on making my life a little better. What can you do?
So what have I learned in 2020? I think that the lessons are as many as there have been horrible things even, and we all know what a joke that's become. I have learned to give myself more grace, that I'm a better mom than I think I am in my worst moments, and a worse mom than I think I am in my best moments. I think one of the biggest lessons for me this year has been that about my needs, about community, and about even my spiritual health. When we joined Live Oak, we were really clear that we were doing it for the children, and that it was because they needed a place to belong and a community to grow up in, and all of those types of things. We were really clear that it had nothing to do with us. And then 2020 came, and everything was gone. and I was adrift and home alone and scared with 2 crazy kids who needed more than I could possibly give, and a high-risk husband who was terrified, and a mom with Alzheimer's who was terrified and didn't understand what was happening. And I have never felt that empty and that alone. And the first thing that helped was going to the Minister Sack lunches on Wednesday and having people that I didn't have to smile for and talk about nothing, and have people who heard me and saw me and cared what I had to say, and that talked about things that were bigger than how's the weather, but did so in a compassionate way. And that for me was everything. And those sack lunches got me through the hardest time of this for me. And it taught me how much I really do need that community, and I need those people, and I need that kind of open and honest and loving environment. And that's before we get to the I need to have people that I can turn to and say, I'm really mad at the goddess. And hear all of the reasons and have those conversations. And I think that what it has taught me is that going forward, I have to take care of those needs for me and those parts of my life just as much as I take care of the physical things, and that if I don't, it has the same kind of negative ramifications. It's taught me to be grateful for the people around me, and it's taught me that love doesn't have to come in being near each other or giving hugs, and that people are just as grateful for all of the other ways that love manifests, especially in times of need. That's what I've learned.
What lesson have I learned in 2020 that I'll take into the future? Following Georgia's death in February, I re-examined my life as it had been. We had been Mr. and Mrs. Alan Weber, Georgia and Al, for 62 years. Now without her in my life, I face new challenges for identity and purpose. So what have I done with my life since Georgia died on February 13th? Behind this fog of grief, I realized that I needed to be with my family and friends. I had been living in our apartment at the Delaney. When COVID came, it restricted my time with family. So I moved nearby to my daughter Lynn and son-in-law Dave's home in mid-May. In August, our family went to the YMCA of the Rockies in Estes Park, Colorado, where Georgia first went as a child with her family in the 1930s. Continued going there when she was in college, working there. We began going there as a family in 1964 and continued to spend our 2-week summer vacations there. The trip in August was bittersweet to me, as it was our favorite place, but this time it was without Georgia. I loved being in the familiar Rocky Mountains with their memories of happier times, and this began the next chapter of my grieving and coming out of my fog, and I'm so thankful that we went there. I continue to use my photography hobby and have been scanning the many thousands of images stored in slides and negatives. I have found that seeing our family in Georgia in earlier and happier is healing and bring back many wonderful memories. Our old home movies have been made into DVDs, and these are helpful too, remembering the good old days. But my greatest joy is being with my family at this time. I recently went to San Antonio to be with my daughter Kathy's family, and I've also visited granddaughter Michelle and her husband in Dallas. Here in Waco, I spend time with my granddaughter Laura and her husband Robbie and my 4 great-grandchildren. Being with them and playing with them allows my inner child to emerge. And recently, while holding infant Quinn on my chest, while lying on the couch, I remember Georgia saying, I couldn't think of anywhere else that I'd rather be, as she was holding Laura, our first grandchild. And I feel the same way with Quinn, as we are walking in our Waco Zoo. What have I learned this past year that I'll take to the future? That life goes on and to be adaptable to change. Our membership and involvement with the Live Oak Unitarian Church for over 20 years has led to many cherished friendships that I value today.
You don't have a job, it won't pay your bills, won't buy you a home in Beverly Hills. It won't fix your life in 5 easy steps. Ain't the law the land of the government, but it's all you need, 'cause love will hold us together and make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my brother's keeper, for the whole world will know that we're not alone. It's waiting for you, knocking at your door. Every moment of truth when your heart hits the floor, and you're on your knees, but love will hold us together and make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. This is the first be alright. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. 'Cause love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone.
Thank you for joining us this morning, and a special thank you to everyone who made this service happen, especially today's preachers of the day. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and being willing to be vulnerable and authentic with all of the things that you've learned this year. I look forward to seeing everyone next week online, but in 2021. And may you go forward knowing that you are lovable and loved, and may you carry that love out into the world, into everyone whom you are around, even if the way that you are around them is online.
Soon the day will arise when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see